this argument regarding the Japan backlash. The problem with Japan backlashing is that they, like, yes, they are scared about North Korea, but this actually could turn your argument here because they are more scared, they're going to do more of these protectionist actions where they're not being imposed on by other countries. So they're actually going to be less likely to cooperate with the United States when we impose something like interfering with the way they do their whaling. Which actually, if you want to link these two things together, their argument on the natives and their argument that like Japan's going to be okay with us imposing limitations on their whaling, technically they are in conflict because Japan is a native culture. Japan has a native culture of doing a lot of their whaling in the way that they fish, so actually these two are in conflict.
Also, the Japanese alliance isn't going to get broken just because they
and the Japanese alliance isn't going to get broken just because they allow
just because they have overfishing.
Just because they have overfishing laws. Okay, all causes they say they would have so much population. Okay, so I'll deal with that on the K.
Go back to the all causes. They don't properly address that. As long as they don't, if they have a chance of not solving, that's going to be enough.
If they have a chance of not solving, it's only all causes. As long as they have a chance of not solving, then you have to vote negative. And specifically on this, like they don't really address the fact that there are other food sources, and additionally there are alternative causes to the to this kind of to fish populations decreasing that aren't entirely built on corporate fishing. So because of these alternative causes, if they can't provide a way to ensure that biodiversity is going to happen, like even if we were to fix all of this corporate fish law overfishing happening, these alternative causes could actually still cause that biodiversity decrease, which means that they're not going to have access to their impacts there. Okay, on to the natives. Okay, so their first argument is that basically natives have been screwed by corporations in the status quo. This is almost a biopower argument that I want to make here because the fact is that us as Western, and this links to my K, and I'll get to that, but basically because they have this position that they can, as a Western culture, decide how to help, how to give a handout and how to help the native populations, they're actually creating this situation where the Western culture is the only mindset from which we can operate, the only way we can think about an issue, and the only way that we can supposedly help another culture. This is uniquely bad because it's actually imposing Western ideals onto those other cultures, and it's actually it just is dehumanizing, it just is put negative for decreasing the culture of another region as the supposed overfishing issue. They say that natives won't get bought off by the corporations, but the fact is that you guys have no control over international actors. So yes, you can try and improve fishing relations in the U.S. and like U.S. companies, but that doesn't. You didn't make any arguments about like the United States modeling good behavior or anything like that. So there's no way for this to affect other international companies that are doing the same kind of, if not worse, overfishing problems in the rest of the world as well. So just because we maybe can, I get what you're saying that the fish swim obviously and that they can move from one place to another. But fixing fish also do have a general location where they tend to be. This is why there are certain regions that have different kinds of fish than other regions. So there's no way for you to actually solve for these other international actors who are imposing on these other cultures and that are also doing these overfishing. You didn't make any arguments to try and claim that we're going to model good behavior, that this is going to set a precedence or anything like that. So there's no way for you to solve for the rest of the world
also,
either.
They talk about that they continue being pure screw over. It's like affirmative action. We're realizing that if we screw them over, we're remedying that.
We're realizing that we're screwing the native populations over, and so we're actually trying to remedy it. It's like affirmative action. The corporations are being affected. Okay, so I'm just going to go on K and kind of make some arguments here. Okay. The problem here is the managerial mindset. What we are running here is a K argument. We're critiquing the mindset. The mindset of having this managerial, and you say that utilitarianism is good, and you also say later that the cat mindset is good. Both of these are wrong for one fundamental reason. They put us in a position where we can believe we can create a certain value that means something for a thing that's alive or another culture or any of these kind of things. So providing this kind of like which one is worth more mindset is negative, and that's what the RK is about, is trying to reduce that mindset that we as an actor or as a corporate, as a corporation or as a country can change things in a positive way while still viewing it in a one thing is worth more than the other mindset. We are trying to break down that mindset of having this human dominance and having this, especially Western dominance, of humans over the rest of nature. So we're trying to break that mindset down, where we are a part of nature, that we are involved in it, and we are not the destroyers of it, we're the positive actors. The capitalist mindset obviously goes with what I just said about utilitarianism, that having this capitalist mindset means that even if we try to change the way corporations work, they're going to find loopholes, they're going to work around it, they're going to continue as they do because it's in a capitalist mindset to try to abuse War II, and and these huge global wars that killed millions of people.
This is the biggest impact in the round.
This is the biggest impact in the round, but the fact is that like it's only because of this mindset of devaluing one group or one thing over another. Specifically, we want to get into how this creates really eugenics of nature specifically, because we're trying. Eventually, your impacts all moved to taking care of people. Like it all became the extinction of like all people will be impacted, and that mindset's bad because we need to be focusing more as true stewards of the earth. We need to be focusing on how we can positively affect the environment for the environment's sake, not for the people's sake, because we are supposed to be part of nature, not not actors who get to decide how nature works.
Respond to the term eco-managerialism. That we're saying eco-managerialism is bad. It's the root cause of destruction.
Eco-managerialism is bad because it's the root cause of this devaluation, and that it actually causes more violence and more abuse of the environment. Yeah.
Respond to the perms, grouping up the perms.
Okay.
Their severances.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So on your perms, I'm just gonna group them all together and say that this is all severance, but specifically, I'll go for the first one is perm do both. The problem with this is that you can't perm and do both, and you can't be an actor who gets to decide how to affect the nature and then accept that you're part of nature at the same time. Being an actor on something and then being part of it or not. You can't act to be acted upon. On the perm, you can't plan plus the alternative. You can't do both of them. You can't do one and then the other, because enacting a policy and then taking back the mindset doesn't work. Also, the perming and then talking about it out of round. Oh my gosh, like we're going to talk about this round after the round ends. We're all going to go back, drink some coffee and then get ready for the next round. Don't lie.
Go to T, they drop.
Okay, on T they drop all of our media framework, all of our standards. So all of those things carry through.
This round is over.
This round is over right now. They're not topical. They're the end. So this round is over right there. They also, I'm going to spend the last 12 seconds of his speech and my speech on the GOP backlash just because they didn't. It's the Republicans habitually don't care about the environment, and this is just going to be that they are pissed off about VAWA, they're pissed off about the sequester, and they're going to object.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So the order is going to be overview, overview, case, K, T, backlash.
Wait, say that one more time.
Overview, case, K, T, overview, case, K, T, backlash.
You want this back?
That'd be awesome. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait,
Overview.
okay.
Sorry.
Are you dropping perm, what you said?
Yes. Okay. Overview. I'm sorry, guys, but this debate was over at the end of the MG. You dropped T and you dropped backlash. That's enough to win us the round right here. You don't make enough offensive arguments on the K, and you don't respond to all of our turns and properly respond to all of our terminal defense arguments. This means you have essentially zero offense. We lead via the K, and you're non-topical. Game over right here. But now let's go to the case. Okay, line by line. First off, they don't respond to all causes. They make some weak arguments. They talk about but they have to have a 100% likelihood of solving. That they are going to have the opportunity cost killed because they're using, or it takes a certain amount of energy to have the plan passed. This means that global warming and pollution are going to continue to happen regardless of what they do. If they can't solve global warming and pollution, this is irrelevant. It means they're not going to garner any solvency. Game over right here. They don't get, and this cross applies to both advantages. This functions as terminal defense. They now have no offense. This is a place where you can go right here. Also, go to the turn. They don't properly address this turn. Japan, first of all, Japan is not, this is not going to sever U.S.-Japan relations. There are too many other big issues involved here. Also, cross-play what my partner said about the whaling argument. This is inevitably true that Japan will ignore this and they're going to backlash. The Democratic Party of Japan is pretty anti-U.S. They're going to do whatever is necessary in order to mollify their base and satisfy their base, even if that includes overfishing some more. So this is going to cause terrible impacts. Japan has a huge fishery. They still have a weak link to the Caribbean. Like their empirics are really bad, and like my partner said, fish are in a general area. Anything else you want this? Okay. Advantage to cross-apply terminal defense. Terminal defense regarding pollution and environment kills their second